So now I just want to talk about descriptive stats. And really there's two types, the measures of central tendency, which are going to show the middle of the data. And then there's also measures of dispersion, which I'm going to go into in just a moment. So the average or the mean, right? We just covered that. That is the sum of the values divided by the number of observations. And when to use? Almost always. Like almost always when you have numerical data, you're going to want to report the average. The median is the next most commonly used. That's when you rank all the values from the smallest to the largest, and then you just find the value that is in the middle, and that is the median value. And if it happens that you have an even number of values, you take the average of the two middle values straddling that middle point, if that makes any sense. So median is very useful when you have a data set where there's some extreme high values that could really pull your average up in a bad way, right? So that makes it unrepresentative of what you're seeing. The example is housing costs, where in a certain community, you might have houses that cost $200,000 for the, might be the typical housing cost. But you also know there's several mega mansions out there that are multiple millions of dollars. And when you take the average of all that, it pulls that 200,000 up. So in that case, the median is going to be a much better measure than the average. So kind of keep that in mind when you might want to use median, when you might want to use mean. You're going to want to look at your data to see where it makes sense. Mode, I just hate mode personally. I never know a good reason to use mode. Mode is the most frequent value in the data set. And usually if you're using, you know, numerical data with with continuous numbers, like with decimal points, you're not going to have the same exact number. I suppose it could be useful to go into mode if you were doing like survey responses and you wanted to just say the mode of the responses was level 3 or something like that. That was the most common response out of the survey questions, something like that. If anyone knows a good example for mode when you would actually use it in the real world, I would love you guys to put that in